Mangwana ni Mwalelepo Fukenjani Kleklas Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning. In today's episode, South Africa takes the global stage as President Ramaphosa engages in high-stakes dialogue with Donald Trump. Uganda's new law allowing military trials for civilians has raised alarms, while Kenyan and Ugandan activists remain detained in Tanzania. Plus, online access to X has been restricted following a cyber attack on Tanzanian police accounts. In Kenya, President William Ruto slams early campaigning by his former deputy. We also bring you the corruption sentencing of DRC's ex-prime minister and a major business development. Canal Plus's conditional takeover of multi-choice as well. Catch Africa Good Morning on DStv 285, GOtv 251up2.com and NTV Africa on YouTube, as Arrie Hougaard will also deliver the South Africa report. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly.
Taking flight has never been easier. Paratus is introducing Sky-Fi internet packages with speeds that will have you reaching for your seatbelts, starting from $500 million excluding VAT per month, with speeds reaching up to 10 megabits per second. There's even a prepaid option where you can top up your Sky-Fi internet for just $15 million per gigabyte. No contracts, no fuss. Visit your nearest Paratus branch to find out more, or go to paratus.africa/Namibia to sign up online.
Always prepared, Paratus.
Let's get into our top stories. During a tense Oval Office meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump accused South African President Cyril Ramaphosa of presiding over what he called a white genocide, repeating long-debunked far-right conspiracy theories about the treatment of white farmers. Trump presented a video of white crosses and inflammatory speeches and waved printed articles as supposed evidence. Ramaphosa, who had arrived hoping to reset strained U.S.-South Africa relations and discuss trade, was accompanied by white South African figures like Ernie Els and billionaire Johan Rupert to counter any narrative of racial persecution. Calmly rejecting the claims, Ramaphosa stated there is just no genocide in South Africa and pointed out that the vast majority of South Africa's murder victims are black. He reiterated that land reform policies were legal and transparent and emphasized Mandela's legacy of peace. Despite the confrontation, Ramaphosa pushed on with trade discussions, focusing on critical minerals and LNG imports. Trump's performance mirrored his earlier clash with Ukraine's Zelensky, raising concerns among foreign leaders about the risks of meeting him. This footage is courtesy of Reuters.
I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But Mr. President, I must say that we have, we have thousands of stories talking about it.
Sure.
And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land.
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death.
People who do get killed, unfortunately through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well, there are problems.
And this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
those are all recent. Those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about.
The crime is bad.
The crime is terrible, sir, but Mr. Steenhuisen won't admit to it, but he runs the Western Cape, where I live. And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats.
In our next story, Uganda's parliament has passed a controversial law allowing military courts to once again try civilians, a move that has sparked outrage among opposition leaders and rights groups. This comes despite a Supreme Court ruling in January that banned such prosecutions, citing lack of legal competence and fairness. Opposition MPs condemned the new law as unconstitutional and shallow, accusing the government of attempting to muzzle dissent. The military, however, praised the law for strengthening national security and deterring militant political movements. Military spokesman Chris Magezi defended the legislation, stating it would counter armed criminal activity and safeguard democratic processes. Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the president's son and head of the armed forces, hailed parliamentarians as fearless patriots. The law now awaits President Yoweri Museveni's signature to take effect. In recent years, prominent opposition figures like Kizza Besigye and Bobi Wine have faced charges in military courts, proceedings critics say were politically motivated. Human Rights Watch has denounced Uganda's military tribunals for relying on torture-tainted evidence and failing to meet global standards of judicial independence. The military has denied these allegations. Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi and Ugandan lawyer Agatha Atuhaire remain in custody in Tanzania days after attending a court appearance by opposition leader Tundu Lissu, contrary to earlier reports that they had been deported. The Tanzania Law Society clarified that while the two are no longer in police custody, they are being held by the country's immigration department, and efforts are ongoing to resolve the situation. The pair had traveled to Dar es Salaam to witness Lissu's court hearing, where he faces treason charges over allegedly inciting rebellion ahead of Tanzania's upcoming October elections. Lissu, a prominent critic of President Samia Suluhu Hassan, has survived a previous assassination attempt and continues to challenge the government's electoral conduct. Critics view the case as part of a broader crackdown on dissent. President Hassan has insisted her administration respects human rights, but warned against foreign interference. Several other while attempting to attend the hearing, the Immigration Services Department has yet to comment. Moving on to our next story. Staying with Tanzania. Access to X has been restricted across much of Tanzania after hackers breached official government and private sector accounts, including the police. The breach saw explicit content and false claims about the president's death posted from the police's account, prompting authorities to launch an investigation. While no formal announcement has been made about the blocking access, Internet watchdog NetBlocks confirmed the platform was unreachable through major service providers. Only users with VPNs, which are illegal without a permit, could bypass the restrictions in certain regions. Information Minister Jerry Sila assured Parliament that all affected accounts had been secured, while government spokesman Gerson Msigwa warned of swift action against the perpetrators. This digital disruption coincides with political tensions as Kenyan and Ugandan activists attempting to attend opposition leader Tundu Lissu's trial face deportation or detention. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has warned against foreign interference, while the whereabouts of Boniface Mwangi and Agatha Atuhaire remain uncertain, intensifying concern among family and rights groups. Augustin Matata Ponyo, former Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, has been sentenced to 10 years of forced labor after being found guilty of embezzling about $245 million in public funds. The corruption case also saw Deogracius Mutombo, former central bank governor, sentenced to 5 years of forced labor. The funds were stolen from the Bukanga Lonzo Agro-Industrial Park, a major development development project intended to address the country's severe food shortages. Matata, who served as Prime Minister from 2012 to 2016 and was once praised by the IMF for economic reforms, now leads the Leadership and Governance for Development Party. He has denied all charges, claiming political motivation. Both men are barred from public office for 5 years following their sentences. And Kenyan President William Ruto has criticized his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua for launching early campaigns ahead of the 2027 elections, urging leaders to prioritize development over divisive politics. Gachagua, recently impeached, has announced the formation of a new political party and stands accused of stoking ethnic tensions by advocating for resource allocation based on voting patterns. Ruto, who campaigned vigorously for years before winning the presidency in 2022, now finds himself warning against premature electioneering, a move some see as ironic. The rift between the two exposes deeper political fault lines in Kenya's lead-up to the 2026 electoral season. Gachagua has defended his remarks on past post-election violence, saying they were meant as a caution, not incitement. As tensions rise, Kenya's political arena braces for more turbulence in the months ahead. Those have been our top stories. We're shortly going to go into the weather, and after that we talk to Arrie Hougaard during the South Africa Report. It's time to talk to Arrie Hougaard as he delivers the South Africa Report. Good morning, Arrie. Good to have you on the show.
Yes, very good morning, Ashwin. Yes, nice to talk to you this morning.
All right, so Arrie, President Cyril Ramaphosa met Donald Trump in Washington, and the aim was to discuss trade and security. What were your takeaways?
Yes, indeed. That's the main agenda points talked about in the beginning, trade and security and safety, and the safety of South Africans came under discussion. So looking at all the international news channels like BBC, etc., from my side as well, everybody agrees that it was more a bit of an ambush at one stage. So obviously there were videos played, and there were discussions about genocide, etc. So those are concerns in South Africa as well. It's not the only picture of safety in South Africa, but it seemed like President Trump was very focused on discussing that part specifically. Reports that came in is that President Ramaphosa held his own. He didn't get angry or frustrated. He tried to stay with the facts. It was cordial at times as well. They did talk about golf. It did help that there were some golfers in the room. It helped to an extent. I don't think that was maybe the exact thing that you want to do. Maybe it took off the little edge about President Trump that can be very confrontational in those situations. So it's live TV, South Africa on display. So you pull up those videos of kill the farmer, kill the boer. You show some of the crosses on the hills. So yes, there's realities about the safety. I think that's a concern. The reality in South Africa is actually that there's 10,000 people being murdered every year. So there is a safety issue in South Africa. I think there's safety issues in every neighborhood in the world, probably in New York as well, in Paris and in Sydney. So you need to take it into context as well. South Africa's biggest challenge is unemployment. And I hope that under closed doors that there were more discussions. Obviously, there were discussions on television. That was tough for President Ramaphosa to just on the lights of the camera to answer all the questions. Some realities had to be faced, so that is what the government need to do. Ramaphosa did admit that safety is an issue. many corners, the singing of those songs, like Kill the Farmer, Kill the Boer, many critics still believe that that's not really necessary in these days and age, but it's happening. So we must put it into context, I suppose. But I personally don't like that. It is related to the safety. There's more gang violence in South Africa, in Cape Town as well, so that needs to be looked at. But the trade is a big thing. So hopefully, after the cameras have gone, they hopefully went in behind doors and discussed trade relationships. There's a G20 conference coming up in November where the US haven't confirmed to be present, so that is a big thing. AGOA is a trade agreement with the USA that's also coming to an end after 25 years where there were no tariffs. There's 31% tariffs that was hit on South Africa as well as most of the world. There's lots of discussions. There's BEE, Black Economic Empowerment, also percentages linked to the Starlink and that want to invest in South Africa. So what's going to happen there? There's discussions. They probably talked about the court case against Israel as well. That was something that wasn't brought up at least. So there's maybe lots of frustrations behind closed doors, but South Africa hopefully had a chance with all the delegates that was there to discuss South Africa's trade, and the safety was put onto the spotlight as well. Like I said, it felt a bit like an ambush. There was lots of focus on accusations of genocide and taking land. It was good that the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Steenhuisen, the president or the leader of the Democratic Alliance, was also there to put context into that. It was tough to see that South Africa was put in the spotlight like that. At least it didn't end like previous presidents or other presidents of countries like Zelensky of Ukraine, that it shouted with Deputy President Barnes in a shouting contest. One journalist in the end said that at least they had a lunch after that. And they said to previous presidents that they went to the White House, there was no lunch. It was served after all the discussions. So maybe it ended a little bit better. But yes, it hopefully, what I hope, and that's what I also read in the media today, is that hopefully behind closed doors there was more discussions, and that could be fixed. Things could be fixed related to trade, and safety needs to be addressed in South Africa big time. It's linked to unemployment, unfortunately. It's 35% unemployment in South Africa. The biggest concern between ages of 18 and 35 years old, the unemployment is 47%. So that's a big challenge. So that's the economical impact. That is the harbour in Durban, and things that wasn't discussed that I think that was maybe would hopefully have merit behind closed doors is how state-owned entities are managed in South Africa. How's the budget managed? How is the municipalities working? How's the people of South Africa served? How is jobs created? So hopefully that will be addressed a little bit better. Just a link to the budget quickly. Behind all of that happened yesterday as well. It was budget 3.0, they call it, the third attempt of Minister Enoch Godongwana. It was accepted. All the big role players in South Africa was not there, obviously because of the visit in Washington, the Deputy President being in France as well. Those are two important components. It's Mr. Kieswetter on the left and Minister Godongwana on the right. So just 3 points maybe from the budget that was confirmed and done and tabled is that the SARS, that is Mr. Kieswetter, is the head of South African Revenue Services. They will get an extra 7.5 billion South African rand. That is effectively to collect outstanding tax from taxpayers that are earning more than R1 million in South Africa. There's 30,000 of them not paying tax. So apparently there's 1,000 tax debt collectors going to be set up. So that's going to be quite interesting if that's how that's going to work. But that is to hopefully get in 50 billion South African rand annually. So that would hopefully balance out the South African budget, because the big news, obviously, like we know, VAT of 15% will stay. Another component, just briefly, will be in June. There will be a rise of 16 cents to the litre of petrol. So there will be the general levies on petrol will be up 16 cents from June per litre, on diesel 15 cents. So that will generate quite a bit as well. But lastly, just the concern remains South Africa's debt to the GDP. So that is at 77.4%. So very high. So South Africa do owe have lots of debt. So the economy needs to work. So lots to talk about, but back to Washington at least they had lunch. Hopefully behind closed doors, there were good discussions.
Let's swing into the sport news from South Africa. South Africa's under-20 men's team has qualified for the World Cup in Chile, with Tylen Smith shining bright for the football players.
Yes, nice to talk about the sport. It's a good achievement, great achievement, winning the AFCON. It shows that there's lots of soccer talent in South Africa. Hope they can pull it through. The senior team also doing better. Tylen Smith, a name to watch. It's still early to say, but he was the player of the tournament. There he is. He's a centre back, so he's in a defensive role. He also scored a goal against Nigeria, so a big talent from Stellenbosch Football Club. So probably the World Cup in Chile, that will be later in the year, will be the test where you can see against different teams, not only from Africa, how he's going to perform. There is an action, but a great talent, and obviously a bright future for him. He's confirmed to be staying at Stellenbosch Football Club for the moment, but there will be lots of interest for him all over the world if he plays well in Chile as well. So, but just back to the achievement of the under-21s, great achievement in winning the AFCON under-20s. Now up to the World Cup in Chile 2025, and there's the champions being crowned. So hopefully Tylen Smith can be a new sensation, hopefully playing for some high-profile European club in years to come as well.
All right, Arrie, the best way to cap it all off is Cape Town's beauty, including Kirstenbosch, which has been named among the top 25 botanical gardens worldwide.
Yes, a special place to visit, right against the side of Table Mountain. If you look at the pictures of Table Mountain, it's on the left side, just around the corner. And it's a beautiful place. It's big. It's 528 acres, hectares, and there's 36 cultured hectares of that. So it's a beautiful place, beautiful scenery. It's right up against the Table Mountain National Park as well. So lots of visitors going there every year, and it is a beautiful part of Cape Town. And you can do picnics there. Obviously, you can go for walks up. You can actually climb Table Mountain from that side. So it's very popular as well in South Africa to do that. You can have concerts. There's music concerts that they also have there. So it's a very popular place to visit. It's Kirstenbosch. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it's well known for that. And yes, it's one of the top 25 been voted botanical gardens in the world. Some of the others are in Japan, in Belgium, and Italy, and England. So there's one in Cape Town as well. So if you come down to Cape Town, so not only the beaches behind us, there's a brilliant botanical garden next to Table Mountain worth visiting. So that's all related to tourism. So that will make every visitor to Cape Town happy.
Thank you very much, Arrie, for bringing us the news stories from South Africa.
Big pleasure, Ashwin. Best day for everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, cheers. Okay, so Africa, good morning on the 22nd of May. Those have been our stories. Of course, the big Ramaphosa and Trump meeting went as expected or unexpected. There's a lot going on in Tanzania with regards to the alleged suppression of dissent, and Kenya's election season is gearing up, amongst other stories. Thank you for joining us on DStv 285, GOtv 25, 1up2.com, and NTV Africa on YouTube. From me, Ashwin Berry, and the Africa Good Morning team, Swera Jaganaka.